This idea of transmitting value or transmitting ownership of some scarce digital good at a distance with no trusted third party is genuinely novel, and I think it's a reason why certainly so many technologists are so interested in this technology. And of course, that's one of the arguments for why this could potentially be so disruptive. If we believe that system will gain adoption and will take off, why do you need the financial plumbing and the global payment infrastructure? Why do you need correspondent banking relationships? Why do you need domestic net settlement systems? Why do you need real-time gross settlement? All that infrastructure wouldn't need to exist. So if you believe this technology has a role, you have to question why those things need to exist. That takes you to the disruption argument.
Our mission is really to radically simplify consumer financial products, retail consumer financial products, by building entirely on digital platforms.
So the big question that a lot of people are asking is, where are the banks? And I think the short answer to that is they're on their way, they're just taking very long to do it. But the slightly longer answer is that we've seen tremendous engagement from very senior levels in banks across the world. I'm talking across 5 continents, more than 100 banks. Surprising engagement. If you look, there's 2 kind of trends that we're seeing, and the one is in terms of the bank size, and the one is in terms of geography. So some of the really, really big multinational banks are slightly more cautious in terms of what they do with Bitcoin as a currency, and they're looking at more advanced applications of the blockchain protocol, and some of this you'll hear more about now. Some of the smaller, and when I say smaller banks, they could still be multinational banks, see this as an opportunity for them to gain a leg up on their larger competitors, and I think they're a little bit more aggressive on the space. We really feel that the opportunities in this industry, it's just so new, and a lot of the innovation we think is going to come from collaboration between these 3 groups of people. On the one hand, you have some Bitcoin companies maybe slightly arrogant sometimes, saying Bitcoin is going to change the world. We don't need banks. We don't need governments. Things like this. And then you have the banks that really understand a lot of the problems in these markets. Often the problem is not a technology problem. It's a last mile or a distribution problem. And this information is really valuable. And a lot of these people with mobile payments and everything has been around the block 100 times. And that's why a lot of them are skeptical about Bitcoin, but they might not understand the technology aspects of it. And of course, the regulators are also trying to get their minds around it. And the traditional financial services guys have very good relationships, in most cases, with the regulators.
Well, to provide a bit of context, it's not so much looking at the institutional side as it is building an actual marketplace which can allow for and support institutional liquidity to enter it. Early 2012, I had this article cross my desk, and you start looking into it, and it was an article about cryptocurrencies, and you become very interested once you read into it. And it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for you to really understand everything around the protocol and the potential of it, and you go like, oh my God, this is like the holy grail of monetary economics, or the friction-free e-commerce layer that's about to be built, and what's possible around it. But at the moment in time, it's purely a protocol. I mean, nothing else. There is no ecosystem, essentially. And in today's economy, when everyone's looking for different trades and different assets to trade, this is a very interesting product. It's a completely new asset class, and it has to be treated as such. And so there's a big lift with the regulators to get this through. But this new asset class, everyone you speak to is very interested in becoming members of this exchange.
We heard the CEO of Swift talking about Bitcoin as 2 things. First is a currency, and the second part is the technology platform. The question there is really what existing financial institutions like eToro can do with Bitcoin. And the idea generally of colored coins is to use the blockchain technology to actually represent any type of financial contract, or actually any type of ownership on top of the existing Bitcoin blockchain.
There's this notion of building an internet for value exchange, and that's really the mission that we're trying to accomplish. What does that mean for financial institutions? Well, it means that banks remain the custodians, but they can correspond with each other directly, and they can use this real-time settlement system without putting up capital on both sides, and with getting maximum competition for that exchange of value. It's a fundamental structural change in correspondent banking. The networks, whether that be SWIFT or Visa or Earthport, they can also use those same benefits for their customers. And then for regulators, we actually think this is also a big step forward, because you get so much more transparency. It's so much easier to track sort of degrees of separation tools in real time we think it actually shortens the time it takes to catch the bad guys.
This whole space I regard as a source of potential innovation for the banking sector itself. These are systems we can either adopt or we can integrate with, or which we need to coexist. This isn't something other that will go away. I think this is pointing the way to, I think, a more efficient future for the financial system itself. But I don't buy that this is going to blow it away.